Hey guys, what is going on? So today we are going to talk about this Kyler Murray situation and if I think Kyler Murray is going to be the Cardinals starting quarterback next season. So this all started when Kyler Murray wiped his Instagram of Cardinals photos. And when athletes, wipe their Instagram of photos of them on a certain team or the team that they're currently a part of, I usually don't think too much of it or overreact too much to it. I'm not like, oh, this guy's gone now. It's official. He's asking for a trade. He's not going to play there. I don't usually like to think of it like that because we all, like to wipe our Instagram at times or delete certain pictures if they're not part of, the right aesthetic or whatever. So when athletes wipe their social medias, I'm not always like, yeah, it's a trade. I know a lot of people react like that, but my initial reaction wasn't like, oh, Kyler Murray is out of there. But then, on February 13th, Chris Mortensen reported the odd vibe between the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray is indeed alarming. Murray is described as self-centered, immature, and finger-pointer per sources. Murray is frustrated with franchise and was embarrassed by playoff loss to Rams and think he's been framed as the scapegoat. He also tweeted, "Where is it headed? Despite the acrimony, I think that's how you pronounce that word. The Cardinals expect things to calm down and Murray is their quarterback. Select veterans hope to reach Murray on how he handle adversity better. Coach Cliff Kingsbury also is self-scouting where he can provide better alternatives for QB." So this report was definitely, interesting. But what I found even more interesting after all these reports were starting to come out about Kyler Murray's immaturity, how he feels like he's a scapegoat and all that, is what Kyler Murray posted the next day, February 14th, on Twitter and Instagram. So this post is still up on his Instagram. It's him in a Cardinals uniform, in case you were wondering. And his post says, "I play this game for the love of it. My teammates, everyone who has helped me get to this position, that believed in me, and to win championships. All of this nonsense is not what I'm about. Never has been, never will be. Anyone who has ever stepped between those lines with me knows how hard I go. Love me or hate me, but I'm going to continue to grow and get better." So what I find interesting is that he actually responded. A lot of times we see rumors about athletes and stuff and their character, whatever you want to call it, or how they are in the locker room. We see a lot of reports about this stuff, and we don't get an athlete's response. But this time, Kyler Murray came out on social media and addressed it head on, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know what that means. Does it mean anything? Does that mean he's actually upset with the Cardinals and he feels like he is continued to, getting framed for this and, people are just trying to smear his name? I don't know. There was also another really interesting report from Mike Garafolo, who said this during the Super Bowl pregame show, I believe. On NFL Network's Super Bowl pregame show. So this was the day before Kyler Murray's post, by the way. If you're looking at this in chronological order, the Super Bowl was on February 13th. So the same day the Chris Mortensen report came out. He basically said that with a minute left in the playoff game versus the Rams, Kyler Murray pulled himself. Colt McCoy, encouraged him to go back in and finish the game, and Kyler Murray was like, "No, I'm done." It was also reported that Kyler Murray was banged up at that point, and Colt McCoy, did encourage him to go back in, but Kyler Murray was like, "No." So, I mean, that's tough. It's honestly like, okay, do I think you should finish the game with your teammates despite how bad you're losing? Yeah. But a lot of times we see quarterbacks pulled when the game is out of reach. If you're losing, or also if you're winning by a lot, the quarterback is pulled to protect them. And if Kyler Murray was already banged up and already hurting a lot, why wouldn't they pull him? You know what I'm saying? If they're down by that much, this is your franchise quarterback. You're down by that much. He played really bad that game, but he was also getting hit a ton that game. Why didn't the Cardinals pull him is my question. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he's upset with the Cardinals. I don't know. Maybe he's upset that they didn't pull him and he felt like, they were putting him in danger because he already was banged up and hurting. I don't know how banged up he was. I don't know what was hurting, but I think it's interesting that they didn't pull him and left him in the game. But the other thing I want to let you guys know is you can't believe all the rumors and reports that come out, because there was a report that came out that said Kyler Murray goes at halftime, sits in his locker, puts on his headphones, and calls his girlfriend. But that report was proven to be not true by Kyle Odergaard, I believe I pronounced that correctly. He tweeted out that it is a, quote, flat out lie per his sources. When I first saw that report that Kyler Murray calls his girlfriend at halftime, I was like, what? Like, what do you talk to your girlfriend about at halftime during a Super Bowl game? I mean, not a Super Bowl game, during a football game. Like, what do you talk to her? You're like, oh yeah, I know we need like more paper towels at home. I'm going to pick those up, on the way home. Like, what do you, like, I just find that, like, what would he be talking to her about? Like, like, what do you, like, you're in the middle of a game. Would he be like, hey, how's it going? Just checking in. How you doing? Like, I just find that funny. But that report was proven not true. So those are things you have to keep in mind when these reports come out, is not everything is true. Not everyone's source is like correct. So you just have to keep that stuff in mind when all these reports come out. I also want to say that Garofalo reported that the Cardinals are looking for Kyler Murray to be more of a leader, have better body language on the sideline, be more vocal as a leader. And the thing is this, I don't know if Kyler Murray is really an extrovert. From what I've seen in interviews and stuff, again, I don't know the guy, like what I've seen just, in interviews and stuff, he seems like a quiet guy. Like he just seems more of an introvert. And maybe he's just not a vocal leader. Some guys aren't vocal leaders. Maybe the Cardinals are expecting him to be a vocal leader. But I guess you could say some people just lead differently. So now let's talk about if I think Kyler Murray is going to be the Cardinals quarterback next season. And as of right now, yes, I do believe Kyler Murray is going to be the Cardinals quarterback right now. If no other reports come out, I think he will be the quarterback. Something interesting, I think, though, is that a lot of these reports are talking about Kyler Murray in the playoff loss when we haven't really talked about Cliff Kingsbury at all. Like, I think it's very clear at this point that Cliff Kingsbury is not a good head coach, and he has a history of kind of like choking away seasons. So I don't know why we're not talking about Cliff Kingsbury more and his impact on the, playoff collapse and the late season collapse of the Cardinals. But I think it's really unfair to blame this all on Kyler. And I just don't think the Cardinals could trade Kyler Murray and like find a quarterback just as good as him immediately. Like, I think it would mess up their franchise if they traded Kyler Murray. He's a young Pro Bowl quarterback, and it's going to mess up your franchise if you trade him. I believe they would fire Kingsbury before they traded Kyler. Unless something crazy happens and Kyler, demands his way out of there and says, like, I'm not playing with you guys, and unless something else happens and another crazy report comes out, I don't think Kyler is getting traded. But it will be interesting to see what happens if, something happens and he does decide he wants out of there. A lot of teams would trade for Kyler Murray, in my opinion. Even with these reports, even if you do hear, he pulled himself out of the game with a minute left, I think a lot of teams would still trade a lot of picks for Kyler Murray. So that is it for this video, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think Kyler Murray is going to be the Cardinals quarterback next year? And that is it, guys. Peace.